We're kicking off another week of Simply Bitcoin. We break down the news from Twitter, the Daily Fail, meme review, the software releases, and the websites by plebes or plebs. Drop us a like, subscribe. We're going to the numbers. Let's do it.
Number time.
At the time of this recording, the block height is 690,765. The Bitcoin price 33,005. Chain rewrite days 1,169. Total public Lightning capacity 1,801.6.
Did you say that again?
1,801.6. That's nuts. We just we well over 100 BTC since we last reported that price.
Dude.
Anyways.
Wow.
Bitcoin versus gold market cap 5.27%, and sats per dollar 3,031. We're over the 3K mark. But wow. What is going on Lightning?
Yeah, man. It's just crazy, man. It's like slowly at first and then all at once. I feel like it's happening. Dude, this is crazy, man. Look, this is all I have to say, Phil. Price of Bitcoin is noise. Public Lightning capacity is the signal, okay?
It's crazy.
It's nuts, man.
I like it. I like it a lot. And I mean, you know, who knows? Maybe this is kind of the effect from Strike. Maybe this is secondary effects from Strike. You know,
dude, who knows? But it's obviously very bullish. But anyways, Phil, it's time for
the Daily Fail. All right, everyone. This was a tweet that actually Corn DeLorean was nice enough to take a screenshot, because when I went to the original account, looks like either the tweets are protected or unblocked. Anyways, yeah, this is going to be an ETH fail. So here we go. This is a tweet from OX Bunny Girl announcing the request for reorg contract, RFR. This contract creates a mechanism that allows users to pay miners to reorg Ethereum blockchain. Let's dive into how we can codify chain reorgs as a primitive. Wow. Yeah. Sound money, huh? And let's go back to that original tweet from Corn DeLorean. Ultra sound money. Indeed. Can you imagine anybody storing value on that? So now you can actually go and pay people to be bad actors to reorg the blockchain to suit what you want to have on it. This is priceless, okay? I'm not even going to waste my time reading to you the whole tweet. Should I release a cut of Mevgeth that does this magician of chaos shit? I want you to think about this when you're a person storing your value. Okay, so we've shown you tweets before, you know, where they refer to themselves as like, you know, magicians and stuff like that, and like, this is scary stuff. Okay, this is like, I really don't want people playing Dungeons and Dragons with the value of our time and money. Like, it's just not happening. Totally love Dungeons and Dragons, don't get me wrong, you know, like, it's good stuff. But at the end of the day, that's not what we want. All right, so wait. This is just icing on the cake. Shout out to Nunya Business, right? He does the Bitcoin and podcast, which is awesome. This was another tweet from OX Bunny Girl. Releasing NFTs to commemorate. Oh, nice. So we're going to put out something completely garbage on a chain that we can reorg. To commemorate Ethereum chain reorgs. Every time you request a reorg with the contract, you can mint one of these shitcoin-like NFTs. The higher the bribe attached to the reorg, the more rare your NFT becomes. This is great. Oh, yeah, dude. Look, don't get me wrong, this is why we call it a circus. I know nobody wants to hear it. Like, there's definitely some poor Ethereum bag holder that's like sitting there watching this getting pissed off. I'm sorry, okay? I know what it's like. I held Ethereum too, okay? I thought, I was like sitting there, I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm like, this is definitely second to Bitcoin. And then the more I dig into it, I'm like, wait a second, this is nothing like Bitcoin. And then that's when I sold it. Anyways.
Dude,
reorgs for sale, my bro.
It's absolutely hilarious that they're trying to add into their network the whole reason that Bitcoin was created in the first place, which is immutability. It's like they want to change that. And it's just so funny with the magician, bro, because the way that I see Ethereum, it's like, essentially, you're getting rid of the Federal Reserve and you're replacing it with magicians who live in their mother's basements, basically. Like, that's who's in charge of your monetary policy, apparently. And now they want to add the capability of, you know, reversing transactions. And this all circles back to proof of stake, man. This
Yep.
all circles back to proof of stake. For some reason, okay, the ETH people, bro, they give me commie vibes, man. They really do, okay? And they just, bro, they want control, right? And if you're using proof of work, I'm sorry, you can't control the network, right? Why? Because it requires actual work, actual electricity being spent. Unlike proof of stake, that's like everything goes, and that's exactly what you're seeing here. Everything goes, right? Let's add chain reorganization. Let's add magician whatever into it. Let's add whatever into it. It doesn't matter, man. Like, they just put stuff in, and at the end of the day, listen, if you want to gamble me and whatever you want, and you want to buy Ethereum because you feel like you're gonna add to your stack, we don't recommend you do that at Simply Bitcoin. But dude, fine. But actually considering to hold this for the long term, like, and seeing this stuff, seeing what's actually being flouted out by the Ethereum community, you would have to be absolutely batshit crazy, man. This is not something you store your value in. And I think the other day we actually confirmed they don't even have a fucking supply. You can't even confirm how much Ethereum exists. You can't even run the numbers.
No,
right?
That's exactly right.
It's just, man, it's ludicrous, it's crazy, but what do you expect? It doesn't surprise me whatsoever. But anyways, Phil, it's time for it.
The Daily Meme Review.
All right, everybody, the meme for today is brought to us by a fellow plebe. You go follow him at abirdflip. Awesome name. Okay, anyways, let's check it out. Sorry, kid. Dad, our Bitcoin account is worth $1 million now. Can we get a place to live instead of this park bench? No, son. You never actually spend the Bitcoin. You just hold the Bitcoin. Man, so good. I think I've seen that. Maybe it was a long time ago, but dude, that was a really good meme, bro. And for that, I'm just going to give it something that you use every day, but it depends what you're eating, okay? I'm going to give it a fork.
Ooh. Very nice. Very nice.
What about you, Phil?
Forks are bad. So yeah, that was a good meme. I mean, look, I kind of, the messaging, of course, I think, we at Simply Bitcoin could say, like, don't, do whatever you want with your Bitcoin, right? Obviously, we hodl, and we suggest you hodl, but do whatever you want. And on that note, I'm going with good old Raspberry Pi sticker.
Ooh, that's a really nice one. I like that.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I forget what it is that I got that with, but it was some add-on to the Raspberry Pi.
Cool stuff. I like that sticker. Cool stuff. All right, well, awesome scores. A fork and a Raspberry Pi sticker for an awesome meme. But we want to know, guys, do you agree with our scores? Do you disagree? Write the meme down in the comments. And of course, join our Telegram group and link us some memes so we can review them. But anyways, Phil, it's time for
the Daily News, sponsored by Crypto Cloaks.
All right, everybody, more news coming out of the European Union. Yesterday, we were talking about them potentially banning, what they call anonymous wallets. And, at the worst case scenario, best case scenario, they are and want to pass these draconian regulations that would require reporting for any Bitcoin transactions over $10,000. To and from exchanges, to and from people, right? Crazy stuff that they're passing over there. But it looks like they also want to go after mining. Today, we're going to link the article down in the description. I know a lot of you guys asked for that. So, but anyways, let's check out this tweet from Dennis Parker. European Union wants to ban Bitcoin mining. Let's look a little bit more into it. This was by Bitcoin Helena. This was the original article. Now, let me read you some parts from the article. Socialist Eero Heinaluoma told, I can't pronounce that, I'm sorry guys, told ENDS that given what is at stake, the EU cannot afford to legitimize cryptocurrencies which are generated in a way which is absolutely negative for the environment. We propose a stop of the underlying technology proof of work mechanism, he said, in a favor of alternatives which are more climate friendly, as the majority of cryptocurrencies are still mined in a very high energy consumption manner. Okay, So why is it that the goddamn socialists are always the ones that are against proof of work? You see this in China. And there's a reason for that. There's a very specific reason. Do not buy into their climate narrative. The reason that socialists are against proof of work is because proof of work is freedom, right? It is freedom. You cannot censor transactions in proof of work. Everyone is equal. You have to spend electricity in order to get that Bitcoin, right? That's just the way it is. In a proof of stake system, the people that have the most at stake have more influence over the network, right? So again, dude, Europe, what the fuck are you guys doing, man? You know, totalitarian regulations, which we covered yesterday, right? Potential ban on anonymous Bitcoin and shitcoin wallets, whatever the fuck that means. And now you want to ban? You can't. That's not even going to work for you. You're just going to have fun staying poor, right? Because again, you ban. It's exactly what happened in China. You ban Bitcoin mining. Those Bitcoin miners are just going to move where they're treated best. Anyways, Phil.
I just find this absolutely pathetic because, what is that? Why does it matter whether you're using so this is the trickery, right? Bitcoin mining can be done using hydroelectricity, which is a renewable energy. There's a lot of Bitcoin mining that is moving to using renewable energy. So this idea that moving to proof of stake is somehow eco-friendly versus proof of work.
It's not about the climate, Phil.
It has nothing to do with the climate. Yeah, exactly. Like this is complete garbage. And also, who's going to own the keys to this smart contract that is going to hold all these tokens?
The magician.
The magician. But wait. Like, so who is this going to be? Like some random cabal is going to hold control to this,
a central committee of socialists,
and they're going to issue the coins to all their friends. Yeah, and they're going to issue the coins to all their friends, and there you go. So everybody's going to start off with a head start, and no matter how much you stake, you're never going to catch up to their stake. And their stake, if I'm not mistaken, based on that, they get to dictate the rules on the network.
It's hot. Of course they do. It's hot garbage.
There you go.
And guys, we've always said on this show, we are apolitical. We don't lean left. We don't lean right. We lean for Bitcoin, which means we stand for freedom. Okay? And communists do not stand for freedom, which is why we speak, or we call them out. We don't really speak about them often. But anyways, moving on. Europe, have fun staying poor. Texas looks like it wants to thrive. The mayor of Rockdale, Texas, John King, says he even mines Bitcoin at his home and welcomes companies to the Bitcoin-friendly city. Again, so this is the incentive model of Bitcoin playing out in real time. Europe wants to crack down on Bitcoin miners. China wants to crack down on Bitcoin miners. Kazakhstan and Texas are just opening up their hands. And I want to talk about this thing that we've been talking about, Phil, a lot, right? And it's this idea that with Bitcoin gives you the power to not only vote with your wallet, but it also gives you the power to vote with your feet. Why? Because you could easily take all of your wealth with you, right? So check out this article by CNBC. This company sells passports to Americans looking for a tax break on their Bitcoin profits. And of course, this article is about our homie, Katie the Russian. Nice. So it's awesome. Let's check out what the article has to say. Russian expatriate Katie Ananina has spent the last 3 years helping people dodge taxes on their Bitcoin gains. See, this part is insincere. No, okay? No. What Katie does is 100% legal, okay? Plan B Passports offers Bitcoin and shitcoin rich clients a path to a second passport in their pick of 7 mostly tropical tax havens, all of which are exempt from capital gains tax on Bitcoin and shitcoin holdings. Right. Let's move on to the rest of the article. Plan B Passports helps hundreds of people from countries like the U.S., the U.K., Australia, and Canada obtain a second passport in one of the 7 countries: St. Kitts and Nevis, Antigua, Barbuda, Dominicana, Vanuatu, Grenada, St. Lucia, and Portugal. The company works in tandem with each government's. This is why the article is insincere, okay? Because it's helping rich Americans dodge taxes. No. The company works in tandem with each government's residence or citizenship by investment programs, right? So these are investment programs set up by these countries in order to attract, right, wealth into their countries, right? These are small Caribbean nations. And again, I've done this myself. Make sure you get a second passport. Why, right? So that you could opt out. You could opt out of your country if things get bad, if things get worse. And Bitcoin gives you incredible power in order for you to do that, right? You couldn't do that before. Going back to 1930s Germany, right? When, the writing was on the wall, right? The German government at the time was starting to be very, very antagonistic against Jews. But unfortunately, a lot of those people couldn't leave the country because they couldn't take their wealth with them, right? Imagine if those people had Bitcoin, man. Millions of lives would have been saved, right? So this is what Bitcoin allows you to do. That's exactly what Katie's company helps you in doing so. And I would actually recommend it to people to get a second passport if you could afford one, because that gives you tremendous amount of power as an individual. You become a sovereign individual. You're not relying on one nation state. You're relying on multiple nation states, and you're going to pick and choose the one that treats you best. Very similar to how Bitcoin mining is decentralizing right now. The miners are going where they're treated best. Anyways, Phil?
You know what? You just got me thinking. As you were explaining that, it kind of flashed to me, right? I remember reading an article about people like essentially all of their, their gold, like somehow under their clothing and that, and having to bring that with them. Like, imagine how difficult it was to try to, to move all of your wealth, at that time. And like, we're so fortunate today to have Bitcoin, and you can take all of this value in no space at all and just move. I mean, it is absolutely amazing. I gotta say that was probably the second thing that really attracted me to it. Obviously the censorship resistance, for me was number one, but then number two, was the fact that like I realized I can just pour everything I have into this and I can take it everywhere with me. So yeah, and it's always, and the thing is this, right? This is the other thing about Bitcoin, where they kind of end up screwing up on this, but Bitcoin is always, it never moves really. It's always just on the network. It's always everywhere. So I don't see how all of their local jurisdiction laws that they're trying to do are really working with any of that stuff. Anyways.
Interesting. It's interesting, and it's definitely something for you guys to consider. I'm going to put Katie's website down in the link description if you guys want to look more into it. But anyways, Phil, to end the news segment, check this out. Massive protest happening only 100 miles away from me in the beautiful island of Cuba. Check this out. This was very rare, a protest against the communist country, right? Here's a short video. They're screaming liberty, liberty. Here's an article from the Miami Herald. Freedom. Thousands of Cubans take to the streets to demand the end of the dictatorship. From the Malecón, Havana's famous seawall near the old city, to small towns in Artemisa province and Palma Soriano, the second largest city in Santiago de Cuba province. Videos live streamed on Facebook showed thousands of people walking and riding and motorcycles along streets while chanting "Freedom, down with communism." Right here, they also said, "We are not afraid." Right now, here's the issue, though. Right, the issue is that they could all these brave people could protest all they want, but at the end of the day, the Cuban government still controls their money. And again, if you control the money, you control the people, right? Check out this article from a year ago. Soaring prices frozen bank accounts. This is what currency unification looks like in Cuba. The Cuban government decided to eliminate the artificial hard cap currency. There's two currencies in Cuba, right? There's the regular peso, and then there is the Cuban convertible peso. And essentially, it's like Tether. It's literally tied 1-to-1 to the dollar, right? This currency was obviously, because it was a better money, was used more by the Cubans, so the government had to cut it out, right? Anyways, to continue the article, very, very scary stuff, right? Unpaid bank accounts. The rise in prices is not the only December surprise that the elimination of the CUC, or Cuban convertible peso, that's the peso that is, again, tied to the dollar 1-to-1, has brought Cubans with savings account in that currency, which will cease to circulate legally as of January of next year. Sounds a lot like Ethereum. Learned that their money is not backed in dollars or other currencies, right? Under the new regulations, they could only transfer or take money out of the bank account if they convert it to Cuban pesos. Essentially, the government is forcing their people to convert their relatively stable money that's tied 1-to-1 to the dollar to the new shitcoin version, the Cuban peso. But if they want to keep their savings in dollars or another international currency, their balance will be frozen. Now, here's the funny part. They will be granted a certificate of deposit that they could collect when the government decides. Right? So again, listen, I support the Cubans, right? My country was also taken over by socialists, my Venezuela, right? So I support the Cubans in their fight for freedom. However, they're not going to be able to unless they take control of their money, right? And that is exactly what Bitcoin fixes. And I just want to say a point, right, guys, is that, look, the Bitcoin conference was moved to Miami for a reason. Okay, and it was moved to Miami because Miami was free and open. Okay, and the reason that Miami was free and open, okay, is that a large percentage of us come from communist countries. Okay, we come from Venezuela, we come from Cuba, we know what tyranny looks like, we know what oppression looks like. Okay, so we could smell it from a mile away. Okay, and I support, and I stand in solidarity with the people of Cuba, and I really, really hope they start buying themselves some Bitcoin. And I'm telling you, it's going to at least give them a bright orange life raft in their communist economies that they have to live in. Crypto Bastardo, we had him on the show. He explained it to us as well, right? The Venezuela economy is underwater. It's very hard to live. You can't use the actual bolivar over there because it's inflated into oblivion. But he survives living literally on a Bitcoin standard, right? So I hope the people of Cuba follow in that direction, man, and at least, taste some freedom. Anyways, Phil.
I am just thinking about the fact that, like, their stable coin is backed by the USD. Think about that, right? It's backed by the USD, and now they are being moved off of that to something worse. Really? I mean, like, this is just that's even scarier. And all of that language in that article, right? Like, that just totally sound like you just sound like a financial hostage. Like that's exactly what that is. Like, you're just a financial hostage. That's scary stuff. I mean, you know what? Who needs slavery anymore when we have this? Like this is worldwide slavery. There's no, you know what I mean? Like, there's absolutely no bias, right? Anyone's a slave. It's all good, like that's exactly what this is. And they've managed to do is enslave us all through this.
A proof of stake system.
A proof of stake system, which they inflate.
It's and they come up with the rule. You saw it. We pointed it out in the Daily Fail. For some reason, we're always synchronized, Phil. You pointed out in the Daily Fail, right? They want to be able to reorganize the chain. Right? These are people, they don't understand that to fix the monetary policy of the world, you need to take out the free radical, the issue, the issue at hand, right? You need to take the human element out of the monetary policy, and you need to leave it in math. Okay, that's it. It fixes everything, literally.
We suck, right? Like, think about it. Like, we have proven time and time again that we are terrible. Okay, like human beings, like we desire power, we desire control. People are insecure, right? You get greedy, you know, people are afraid, they're emotional. Like, don't think for a second this doesn't happen at the highest levels. You know, like there's all kinds of like ego games and all this weird stuff. Like, we absolutely suck. Okay, like there is no reason for us to have. This is the whole reason why our money is crap. This is the whole reason why everything. Look, I mean, don't get me wrong, but like, what kind of a system do you think we're going to build when the money is garbage? You know, look at the system.
Absolute power corrupts absolutely, and even exactly what you said, Phil. Even with the best intentions, inevitably, if humans are allowed to manipulate the monetary policy, it inevitably will become corrupted. It has happened throughout human history. Bitcoin fixes this. It makes it obsolete. Humans are no longer necessary to influence monetary policy, and it's just going to be a better world for it. Rules without rulers. But anyways, Phil, there was a software release today. Why don't you tell everybody about it?
Software releases. All right, so we've got Nix Bitcoin, which is a node. I should probably try this out. Anyways, version 0.0.47 was released, and that's down below in the show notes.
Awesome. Thank you, Phil. All right, guys, that was our show. If you enjoyed the show, you know what to do. Smash that like button. And of course, if you want to continue hearing the Bitcoin news from the pleb perspective and the catastrophic fiat and shitcoin fails, definitely consider subscribing, and we will see you tomorrow for another episode of Simply Bitcoin.